And good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us on a Sunday. And we promised that there'd be a special guest today. Well, I've got Nick here, of course.
Hello, everyone.
But the special guest couldn't make it today. So apologies for that. And I hope he sorts things out. Now, you had a party last night at the Stone Crab pub.
Yes, I did. And that was our grand reopening party, and I think it went very well.
When you said it was like a grand reopening, what were you reopening?
Well, we were reopening the bar because we had recently received it back from our rentee.
Okay. Oh, I see. So the family's running it again.
Yeah.
You did rent it out for a while.
Yeah, we did rent it out for a better part of a decade, yeah.
Okay. So I wasn't able to make it down to the party last night, but Mum's meatloaf went well.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
All right. I'm yet to try Nick's Mum's meatloaf, which I'm told is legendary. And welcome. Now, we've got two big topics to talk about today, and we'll say hi to everybody in a moment. Firstly is a bit of bit of breaking news. There is a whole new level of the extortion and how organised it actually is. More claims from this massage parlour king, I think he's called, and we'll go through that in just a moment. But just a whole new level of claims that I think are going to have to be addressed by the Royal Thai Police at some stage. You ever been shaken down at a checkpoint?
I have not been shaken down, no.
But you've been stopped and they've said, show us your license.
I've only been stopped when I was driving with my father and we were on our motorbikes. But other than that, I think I have a dark enough tan to get away with that. I've only been stopped once.
But the Thai people get stopped as well. I mean, most of the fines are off Thai people.
I do everything correctly.
So of a 6-foot Thai-looking person on a 650cc Honda comes past a checkpoint, I'm going to check them.
Because
Especially if you're
he's got a
18 years
bigger
old.
bike and he's got more money. No.
Sure.
I wear my helmet. I wear the protection. I have my license. Everything's fine.
Allegedly. So the other thing we'd like to have a talk about today is this whole vaping issue. Now, a lot of people in the comments section have said, oh, vaping's much safer than cigarettes. I'm thinking, well, is it? So we've actually done a little bit of hunting today and we've asked ChatGPT. We've gone to the Johns Hopkins University and we've actually got some statements also from the World Health Organization. Somebody said the World Health Organization claims that vaping is safer than cigarettes. So we've actually gone to look at those statements and we'll have a look. So if you vape or if you smoke, then you may have some comments about the things that we're going to be showing later in the program. But mainly, of course, it's your program. So it's up to you to make too high or too low.
They're saying you're quiet.
I'm quiet. No one's ever accused me of being quiet in the past. But so we will be checking out this bombshell allegation by Chuwit about the extortion, the checkpoints, and then checking out vaping. But you might have some topics that you'd like to cover. Who's online?
Yeah, so good morning to John, Frank in Thailand, Hans, Scott D, Key J, Chris Roberts, Mama Bear, Luke Manton, and Durian. You guys were the first ones who came up. And then, of course, Mango Sticky Rice and Nong Wusao later, Lyric Poet.
Lyric Poet. Now, that's a nice name. Bit better than some of the others. And it's great to have you with us. And this is your program. And it's our little community that we have. And a little sort of TNT family. And I think we're going to have to get your mum's meatloaf on for a bit of a test drive one day.
Bit of a test.
We'll try it during the program.
Sure.
So the camera was coming up earlier saying that it's overheating, and it's actually quite warm this morning. The sunlight's pouring through the window, so anything could happen. Any comments we'd like to start with, or we'll get stuck into our story?
John says, I think Tim has a new collection of funky shirts. And Mango Sticky Rice asks, does Tim make you breakfast, Nick? No, he does not. I get my breakfast.
I've told Nick where the kitchen is. I've said there's a refrigerator there and there's eggs and toast and cereal and milk and you're welcome to have some, but he comes in with his sort of 7-Eleven concoctions, which always includes chocolate milk.
It works and it gets the day off right.
So no, Nick lives with his parents in Rawai. He doesn't live here. Heaven forbid. So I do have two of these shirts. I actually sort of like this pattern. The other one's a bit sort of blue and pinky, and this one's sort of orangey and teal. But no, I'm not really getting back into these shirts. I just happen to like two that I have kept. And yes, the elephants. Thank you to those people that bid. I think we're up to around about 55,000 baht already in people bidding for the toy elephants from Seeds of Change. Now, Sean was going to come in today and have a talk about Seeds of Change and other charities. But yeah, we can say that these, which were made from my old Hawaiian flowery shirts, these toy elephants are now available for auction. And I forgot to put the link in the description. It's in yesterday's program, and I'll put it in today's program after the program. But yes, you can find out how you can bid for these. It's an online bid. It's an email. You email us your bid. There's a list of 37 items. So there's only a selected range. And once we've got bids for all the 37, then they're gone forever. Never to be seen again until somebody sells it in another 10 years for millions of dollars after TNT's become a huge sensation.
The largest news program in the world.
The biggest news program in Rawai. So, yeah, these are, you can bid on them, and Seeds of Change is a charity and helps sort of mums, young girls who have fallen between the cracks in the welfare system, maybe have lost their family, and it does a lot of really good work by upskilling them, teaching them to make things like this. These toys. Oh, you're not going to build the bridge again, are you?
No, I'm just going to put these two in there.
Well, what about turning it sideways so we can actually see their trunks?
There you go. Okay.
There we go. So thanks very much, everybody. Welcome to Sunday. And if you've got nothing else to say there, or
is Stone Crab involved in the new big sports bar in Rawai? The Stone Crab is a sports bar in Rawai, and do I have a permission note from my parents? Yes, I do.
Permission for what?
To be on the show, I guess. And
his father pimped him out. He said, "My son's going to be great for your show." So there's no problem there.
And Ken asked, "Are you responding to each email bid you receive?"
And not at the moment, but what I'll do is I'll wait for a week, because some items will get multiple bids, and then we'll sort of do another list showing what the highest bids for those items are, so people can then rebid. So it'll all be completely transparent, and all the money, every single baht, will go to Seeds of Change. We're not making any money out of this. And of course, these shirts were mine. I paid for them myself, or they were donated by some people in the past incarnation. So they're mine to hand out to Seeds of Change, and they've made some lovely toy elephants out of them.
And Matt has a question regarding the Thai princess, but I'm not sure if we're...
No, I don't think we'll go down that track.
It was in yesterday's program. We touched up on it a little bit.
Yeah. Is it in relation to a Thai doctor?
No, it's in relation to the princess and what is happening with her.
All we can say is the palace has not made any announcement for 3 weeks on her health. She ended up with a brain aneurysm causing a heart attack on December the 12th. I think most people know what's going on, but the palace hasn't made any formal announcements, and she remains at the Chulalongkorn Hospital in Bangkok. That's about all we can say. So to this main story, and I think this is a major ramping up, Nick, of this whole extortion story, and this is a Chuwit. We'll go to his qualifications in a moment.
The one on the left or the right?
He's the one on the right. The young gentleman, his name's Sky. He's Singaporean. He was the one who has come forward and said, I paid the 27,000 baht. But to the story, and the former MP and massage parlour boss turned whistleblower in chief. That's a CV, isn't it? His name is Chuwit Visit. He's made the most damning accusations yet about the sheer scale of the Royal Thai Police corruption. The third paragraph, he claims all 88 stations in the metropolitan area of Bangkok have checkpoint extortion targets from the Thai public and tourists, which collect millions of baht every month. The money goes into a central fund for a sharing out later, and it's some 324 million baht a month. That's about 10 million US dollars. Now, we should say, Nick, that This has been published in English in ASEAN Now. Other English media in Thailand haven't appeared to pick it up. I don't know why. And we can also say that it was published in the Daily News and Thai Rath being the leading Thai language news source in Thailand. So these sources are highly reputable. And let's go to the next part of this. It's completely organised racket, says Chuwit, and has started since a police Lieutenant General Titi I hope I pronounced that correct, took over the Metropolitan Police late last year. The reason for the new extortion system is because the police's revenue system from casinos has dried up after the crackdowns ordered from above on gambling. That's the Chinese gambling dens and all that sort of stuff. Do you have gambling at the Stone Crab Pub?
We do not have solicit gambling.
So you've got a sports bar, you've got all the TVs there.
Well, sure. You can watch a poker game on the TV, but you can't actually partake in that because it's illegal.
Allegedly.
Thai
Rath, the leading Thai source, reports that the new central fund at the Metropolitan HQ has been organised since that police chief took over. And Chuwit said that it was wrong to suggest that money extorted from the public goes into the individual policeman's pockets at checkpoints. Not a bit of it, says ASEAN Now. It actually goes into a fund which then gets dispersed to police depending on I don't know. And Chuwit didn't actually say how it would be dispersed. He said each of the 88 stations in Bangkok has a target to fleece the public and tourists of 100,000 baht a day. And that's 264 million baht a month. Secondly, there are contributions from checkpoints set up by traffic police. There are 20 of these, and the traffic cops must also contribute 100,000 baht a day at each checkpoint, making a further 2 million baht a day. I don't quite understand that. So they're saying the actual cops
have
to chip in?
Or maybe it's like the minimum bid or minimum bet you have to put in.
So maybe this is to keep their jobs and to keep their share of the stuff from those above them.
Yeah, maybe you have to put in some to earn some.
Now, if you would ask me, does this sound like it's true? My answer would be yes, this all has the ring of truth. And the fact that it's now been actually set out in a news story, I think is a major turning point for the Thai police and the methods of extortion. As to what's going to happen with this, I'd be interested in your comments, and we'll read some of those out in a moment. But there's more to the story. It's about 60 million baht a month that's involved. This brings the total of 324 million baht a month. Chuwit was not quoted as saying how this was shared out exactly. He says there are rates for the extortion, and there's even an infographic, and the Thai Rath has actually published how the actual extortional works. I can't decipher that for you. I will put a link about this story in the description, and these are the rates to get off certain crimes. So if you're driving under the influence of alcohol...
A cheat sheet, if you will.
Yeah, cough up 30,000 baht and you'll get off. Having a purple urine test that indicates drug use, you're going to have to cough up 100,000 baht. Being in possession of drugs, to get off that, it's going to cost you 300 to 500,000 baht. Having an e-cigarette device, which we're going to talk about more in a moment, 30,000 baht. So that is a fair whack of money that's being extorted out of Thai and expats and tourists. Is there more? Oh, there's more. Look, ASEAN Now just sort of makes a bit of a disclaimer here saying that ASEAN Now notes that Chuwit's credibility has risen greatly. He was always a go-to figure for the Thai press. These allegations about the grey Chinese mafia figures, that's last October, has been praised by Royal Thai Police Deputy. I'm not sure if they're going to be saying, good on Chuwit today. I think they're going to be going, how do we keep this guy quiet? Because it seems that he's just got a never-ending list of claims about the Royal Thai Police. What say you, Nick? What do you think about all this?
I wouldn't be surprised if he was relieved of his duties sooner than later, or
Chuwit
disappeared under mysterious circumstances.
He's got a lot of support by the public. He's, I would say, got a very secure security detail.
But also with all, there's also a few dirty cops in almost every precinct, so
in other countries, by the way.
In other countries, of course, yeah.
Thailand.
But I think that some of them may not be as happy about this information being shared as others. But that's down to them.
Sure. So, look, this is the first time I think our broader suspicions have actually been published and said out loud. I noticed actually that Chuwit owns the Davis Hotel, which is when I first started coming to Thailand, was where I used to stay.
Wow, look at you supporting.
No. I don't know if he was the owner at the time, but it was an interesting hotel because each room had been decorated by a different artist.
Oh.
So you could go there and you could be in the sort of the Chinese room or the Lana Kingdom room or the I don't know.
Pop art room.
The what?
The pop art room.
And some of them were like great. Others were a little bit on the bizarre side. But I'm interested. I must go and stay there next time I'm in Bangkok because it's about 23 years ago since I first stayed there. It was quite a good place in those days. I'm not sure why I sort of lost contact with the Davis Hotel. Let's go to people's comments on this.
So Frank in Thailand, hello, welcome back, says targets for fines are normal in Holland, and also, but those fines aren't going into police pockets. Mangosteen says cops in the U.S. have a quota for traffic tickets, and Frank in Thailand says quotas aren't that strange, just the fact that it goes into their pockets, or at least that's what we believe.
Yeah, I mean, quotas is one thing, and that's really sort of like a key performance indicator. But this is a racket. This is a rort. These are not published quotas. This is a quite different situation. So let's not confuse the two.
Chinky Bad Boy says it's wrong to put a target on such things. And KJ says, not sure if there's a difference between going into the individual's officer's pockets or a common fund in this case. It'd be different if they were putting it into a fund for new equipment and new cars, but of course we don't know.
Frank and Rung here in the Netherlands. Hi, Frank and Rung. It's 10 past 3 a.m. Good heavens, go to bed. But we're loyal followers of the show and we'll continue to watch you to the bitter end. the bitter end. I've just got to find some way of just keeping this. I'm going to put this under there. There we go. Just keep this laptop a bit cooler.
John Swift says, makes you think that if there were no bribes, Bangkok Hilton would need to be much bigger.
Yeah.
Have you visited the Bangkok Hilton? Just to see?
No. Oh. I've heard enough about it over the years, seen enough documentaries to know that it's probably a place I don't want to ever be. I sort of think if I go there and have a look, they'll go, oh, whoops, you're inside. Oh, what are you going to do now? Might be a horrible mistake. And I'd be stuck in a cell with somebody who's 6'7" and named Shirley. It wouldn't be nice.
Okay.
Chad says, I was pulled over at a checkpoint during coming back from Chiang Mai to Bangkok. I said hello in Thai and talked very fast in English. He told me to leave. This has been my behaviour since. So the whole idea of bamboozling them, I usually just, if I'm driving, I've just got my licence out and my international driving permit and my I've just got everything ready in a pack. And I just get ready to show it all and just sort of just go fast pace here, this, and they go, oh, whatever, off you go. And of course I look at them saying, don't you know who I am? Of course they don't. I have no idea who I am.
Rusty Lid says, does Thailand really want the first image in travelers' minds to be corrupt cops? Temples, culture, and beautiful beaches might be a better approach.
For what?
For, I guess, people's first impressions of Thailand.
Yeah, look, I mean, we don't want to sit here and sort of read out these stories, but at the end of the day, these are things that are happening and that you deserve to know about. Now, of course, you can choose to either not listen or turn it off, but I mean, I've always sort of seen my job in this particular role on TNT as deciphering the news for you. There's the headlines and then there's sort of the between the lines things that I like to bring you up to date on. And sometimes I believe the news is incorrect and I'll say that. And it's up to you whether you want to believe me or not. But yeah, look, I mean, there's thousands of websites about the beaches, the bars and the temples. And obviously Thailand is well known for its beauty and for the wonderful things you can see. And you can avoid this. Don't go on the roads. That's going to be hard,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
going to be hard. I was going to say, it's a little bit hard
pretty
to go anywhere you want to go.
Sure. How many holidays are there in Thailand a year? Oh, there are lots. They do have a lot of holidays. I think companies are able to nominate, just off the top of my head, 13 of those holidays each year, which they will then allow their staff to take the day off.
13 out of
but there's
possible 40.
Yeah, I think there could be even 30 to 40 public holidays a year.
Gee.
There's a lot of them. And for companies like Stone Crab Pub or any other company
Some days,
with staff.
Yeah, there are days where you cannot serve liquor or alcohol. Some days, depending on a certain Buddha holiday or whatnot. And some days we do get completely shut due to a public holiday that prohibits that. So it's whatever.
Robbie says, well, and it's also you've got to pay extra pay in those days that are public holidays and the staff don't come in. Who's going to look after the bar?
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
Robbie says, why don't the cops come down on the taxi rorts? Well, a good question. There's plenty other things for the police to do. But if they've got these targets each day they need to meet, they're probably thinking, well, that money's going to go into my pocket rather than into the government's pocket. Good morning, everybody, says Alpha Bravo. Siam Legal. Good morning. Nick and Tim are the best YouTube team in town. Thank you very much, Siam Legal. Tim, is it something to be concerned about from Keno Sims? I would say generally no. If you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have anything to fear. And I think now with all this publicity that we're going to see a lot fewer of these checkpoints. And there was also a story in the Bangkok Post this morning that the head chief of police in Thailand has said this is the way that the checkpoints are going to be run in the future, and everybody's going to be told about it, and the police will be kept an eye on.
Good for them.
So let's hope that all this publicity ends up in an overall good situation.
Positive reform.
Is TNT Day a holiday in Thailand, says Reed. There isn't a TNT Day in Thailand.
Maybe we should.
But I think there should be. And sorry for the interruption in our broadcast. What were we talking about? I was answering a question.
Holiday, TNT's on every day.
TNT's on every day.
Being left.
I'm being left alone because Nick has deserted me.
Yes,
I can't think of any other word. Deserted is good.
I'll be dropped in the middle of a jungle somewhere between Surat Thani and Nakhon.
Do you actually know where you're going to be going?
It's Nakhon Si Thammarat. But
okay, so you're in the middle of the
jungle there, so whereabouts. So if you have access to an airdrop and you can airdrop me a box of Twinkies, that'd be very appreciated.
Yeah, if you've got a spare drone and some Twinkies. Can you buy Twinkies in Thailand? That's an American sweet, isn't it?
You can't get Twinkies here.
Okay. So let's go on with your other comments. We'll get to the vaping issues in a moment. What I'm calling sort of the truth behind vaping. People making comments like vaping is safer than cigarettes. So we've sort of thought, I wonder if it is. And so we've dug out a little bit of information about that. May need a UPS to run your equipment too. It's not, the power's still on. It's just the mixer froze for whatever reason. And I don't know why. Greetings from the Stoned Crab Pub. Open at 9:30 in the morning for the diehards.
We do breakfasts. We offer breakfast, and we'll be running the Super Bowl party on, Monday
What is this?
On the Super Bowl.
Oh, the Super Bowl.
Yeah, on Monday let me look at my calendar here. 13th at 6:30 a.m. You can pop in to watch the Chiefs play the Eagles. At 6:30 a.m. there will be breakfast as well. And
aren't the Buccaneers playing?
No, the Buccaneers are not playing.
This is your team.
I know but they're not making it this time.
I like to vape Twinkies, says Reed. So perhaps I'm worried about all the equipment now. You got something to say about vaping. Start things off.
Okay, sure.
So Nick's getting his act together. So a lot of people were making comments. I mean, vaping is obviously a big topic at the moment. It is illegal in Thailand. You're not allowed to have vaping equipment or buy vaping equipment or sell vaping equipment. If you get caught with it in your luggage when you arrive in Thailand, assumedly it's going to be taken from you. So they're starting to whippersnip out the back there. I'm not sure if you can hear that as well. What do you call them? Whippersnippers?
No, a whippersnapper is like a young kid who's like a brat, but a whippersnip.
That's a whippersnipper.
A weed whacker?
A weed whacker? Whippersnipper? I'm not sure what other
I have
words.
Not heard that
Whippersnipper.
one. I have not heard that one. So someone yesterday had said that it was that the World Health Organization said that vaping was a healthier / safer alternative to smoking. And so
I'm going to try and get rid of that noise.
Sure.
Oh,
it's a little bit loud.
Excuse me.
And so they had said that it was more dangerous or harmful than smoking. Sorry, no. They said that it was less harmful or dangerous than smoking, but the World Health Organization does state that, quote, both tobacco products, electronic nicotine delivery systems, and tobacco products pose risks to health. The safest approach is not to use either. And they also go on to say, the aerosols generated by electronic nicotine delivery systems typically raises the concentration of particulate matter in indoor environments and contain nicotine and other potentially toxic substances. These emissions therefore pose potential risks to both the users and non-users.
This is from ChatGPT?
No, this is from the World
Health Organization.
And so we also got our friend ChatGPT. We got to give him a name. Chatty? Chad.
Chatty.
Chad the chat
Chatty
bot?
chat. Whippersnipper.
No, we're not calling him whippersnipper.
Okay.
We asked him, is vaping safer than smoking cigarettes? And ChatGPT replied, no, vaping is not necessarily safer than smoking cigarettes. While e-cigarettes and vaporizers may contain fewer toxic chemicals than traditional cigarettes, they still contain potentially harmful substances, such as heavy metals, volatile organic compounds, and ultrafine particles that can damage lung tissue and cause health problems.
That's from ChatGPT, which of course accumulates knowledge from
everywhere
books over the last 200 years and every internet source out there. So we also asked the Johns Hopkins University, and they had 6 comments to make about it. Vaping is less harmful than smoking, they say, but it's still not safe. However, there has been an outbreak of lung injuries and deaths associated with vaping. In February 2020, the Centers of Disease Control, the CDC, confirmed that 2,807 cases of e-cigarettes or vaping use associated lung injury and 68 deaths attributed to that condition. And they say the CDC recommends that people do not use THC containing e-cigarettes or vaping products. That's interesting. Avoid using informal sources such as friends, family, or online dealers to obtain a vaping device, or I assume vaping fluids. And do not modify or add any substances to a vaping device that are not intended by the manufacturer. They say that research suggests that vaping is bad for your heart and lungs. And in that second paragraph, is vaping bad for you? There are many unknowns about vaping. How long has it been around? 10 years?
12 years,
with those little e-cigarettes. But
yeah, the e-cigarettes came out a long time, a little bit longer. Okay. The shisha's been around since the Persians.
Hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Thousands of years. Including what chemicals make up the vapor and how they affect physical health over the long term. So this is from the Johns Hopkins University has published this. Number 3, electronic cigarettes are just as addictive as traditional cigarettes. Both e-cigarettes and regular cigarettes contain nicotine, and which research suggests may be as addictive as heroin and cocaine. We'll go on with more of this, but I'd be interested in other people's comments.
I just gotta answer this question real quick. Nangu Sao asked, "What is a Twinkie?" It's made by Hostess, a brand that manufactures a bunch of different types of pastry desserts, like devil dogs, ding dongs. What else do they have?
I beg your pardon?
Ding dongs.
Ding dong. What's a ding dong?
It's like a cupcake-esque frosting snack.
A lot of sugar.
Lots of sugar.
Yeah.
And a Twinkie is like a rolled up, how do I describe this? Sponge-like cake, if you will, with cream filling on the inside. It's yellow. That's the best I can describe it.
Can I say a big thank you to Frank in Thailand, a 200-part donation this morning. Very kind and generous, Frank. And I know you're a frequent listener, and also, you do send in some really interesting comments from time to time. So thank you for your support. And to Jeff Mack, I'm not sure what I've got. It works, Frank. Okay, so thank you very much to Jeff Mack as well for his $10 donation US. Much appreciated. So we don't solicit the donations, but of course when they come in, we're delighted, and it just helps. I'm just worried about this. It sort of looks like that elephant's humping the big one, sort of.
I think that'd be more of like this.
Oh,
sorry.
I'm a little bit concerned now.
That one's just riding the other one. Sure.
Maybe I want to be addicted to something. That's my choice, says the insult investor. Absolutely. I always say with this, we're not preaching anything here. If you want to, as an adult, make a considered decision to smoke anything that you want in your own privacy, away from other people, then go ahead and knock yourself out and smoke and drink and do whatever you like as an adult. Make a considered decision. We're not preaching at all. We're just reading this information after people made certain claims, and we thought, well, we'll just check them out and see what the official stance is on things like vaping or cigarettes.
Rich Dollar says, can you really believe anything the World Health Organization says?
Well,
considering it's the World Health Organization, sure, there's a lot of speculation regarding the recent COVID thing, but the studies that they have done about smoking and vaping go back further than when they fell from grace, if you will, after COVID. But
so I suppose the other question is, well, who are you going to believe? Now, there are studies done by various companies from time to time which come up with their own version of the truth. I mean, smoking cigarettes, there used to be companies that said, oh, that's good for you. It's
Winston,
good for real
doctors advertise that as well.
Yeah, that's back in the 1950s before we found out that smoking did cause lung cancer. By the way, John Swift, thank you very much for your very generous support of the program. I think it's up to you to decide what you want to believe. But I'm quoting from ChatGPT, which at the end of the day is an accumulation of all the various knowledge that's available out there, the Johns Hopkins University, and the World Health Organization. If you choose not to believe these organizations, then again, that's up to you. But sometimes you just sort of have to believe what's being said. Not everything in the internet is false. There is a lot of truth on there as well. And as I said, we're not preaching. Nick and I don't care if you want to smoke or not. Do you ever had a smoke?
No. It's carcinogenic.
You got plenty of time to get started. You're only 18.
Yeah, I know. Right? I have my whole life ahead of me. I could just do it. You know, the world's oldest living woman said that the key to living long is wanting to die. So she smokes cigarettes every single day.
Do customers smoke in your pub?
Yes. There's smoking allowed.
So you get a bit of secondhand smoke.
We've got 1 million ashtrays. Well, yeah. You know, an interesting story about a New York piano player in a bar. He died of lung cancer, I believe, but he never smoked a cigarette a day in his life because the bars were always full of smoke.
Right.
And so,
secondhand smoke.
Exactly. So that's how he died.
My mother used to smoke like a train when I was young.
Smoke like a train. We say smoke like a chimney.
Smoke like a chimney, if you like. Smoke like a steam train, not an electric train.
A locomotive.
Or a diesel locomotive. She used to smoke a packet of Viscount a day, and she used to send me next door to buy them for her. I used to had to do her dirty work.
What did she smoke?
Viscount. I don't know.
I don't even know what that is.
It was a red packet, I remember that. And they were 25 cents. So this is back in the 1960s. So my mother used to smoke. And so I'm sure I'm sure she smoked while she was pregnant. So, but I've done okay.
That explains a lot.
Travelodium, Travel Magazine, David, do it and see what happens or find another bar. Sugar is as bad as cigarettes, says Mangosteen. Yeah, look, I'm pretty much on a sugar-free diet now. I don't have breakfast cereals anymore because it was so difficult to find cereals without sugar.
Muesli?
Full of sugar.
It's like sawdust.
Well, yes, and it does has benefits in the grains and stuff and the oatmeal, but it's just packed full of sugar. Very hard to find a muesli in Thailand. God knows I've tried without sugar. I don't have yogurts with sugar anymore. I just get the Greek yogurt unsweetened.
Yeah, that's very good. I do like that.
Even if you have a coffee here, the coffee tastes to me like it's been sweetened. Of course, milks. A lot of the milks in Thailand have got flavoured with chocolate and other flavours. You walk into a 7-Eleven and it's hard to find anything to it that doesn't have sugar in it.
Well, I think it's because you're trying to find something to eat at 7-Eleven.
Sure. I did an interesting program a few years back, and the idea was we gave a chef 500 baht to go into a 7-Eleven, and they could
make a meal.
Yeah, buy anything they could for 500 baht. They had 5 minutes to pick the ingredients, and then they go back to their restaurant and they cook a meal.
Okay.
And they came up with some fabulous meals.
That's cool.
I should dig it out sometime. It was a good program.
Eric donated $10. Thank you, Eric. He says, love supporting this channel. You guys are awesome. Hopefully I'll be able to stop by the Stone Crab when I'm in Patong at the beginning of March. Stone Crab is in Rawai Naiharn, in that area on Soi Sayuan, the large main drag that runs from Visit Road to Naiharn.
I'm going to send you guys a bill. All this free advertising.
Everyone asks where it is all the time, and so I guess because addresses don't exist here and street names don't exist here, I have all I can do to narrow down where it is. And of course, you can look it up on Google Maps. We do have the location up, and we have it right smack.
I'll come back in 5 minutes when you finish the free ad, if you like.
No problem.
And a claim here by Eric Godsell: lung cancer is not caused from smoking. Smoking causes mainly bladder cancer. Edward, I'm not aware of that claim, and it's not backed up by the scientific research that I've read, but appreciate your input. But if you're going to make claims like that, you probably need to leave some sort of reference as well, because I'm not aware of that particular link. Look, I think generally smoking anything, and that includes marijuana or cannabis, at the end of the day, sucking anything into your lungs,
plastic tinge to it,
that's got particles and made up of smoke is just not going to be good for you long term. But as we said, if you get your jollies from it, if you enjoy doing it, if it brings you pleasure, and you're not harming anybody else, that's fine. And we're not moralizing about this. We're just basically just finding, because so many claims were made about vaping in the last few days, because vaping's become the big topic as a result of these police extortions. And the Taiwanese actress, I think her Instagram account's going very well as well.
Really? Do you have the link available to that?
I do. She's not going to marry you, Nick. I'm telling you.
Here's the interesting part. I know we're straying a little bit from the news, but it's the tourist story, so we can't. If you're going after a girl who's single, it's a 1 versus 20, which means that it's you against the 20 other men who are trying to seek this woman. But if you go after her while she's married, it's a 1v1 because you're just competing with her husband. It narrows down the competition.
You've been speaking to your father far too much. Think that?
I'm just saying, you could approach her at the bar and say, "Excuse me, is your husband bothering you?"
The insult investor says, I'm going to smoke a big fat bowl right now. How do you smoke a bowl?
Oh, you're so innocent. It's a bowl in a bong.
Okay, I don't know. Look, I am innocent. Tim and I could be brothers, says Frank Weston. Oh dear, that's a worry. We both play the piano. We both play tennis. We both are journalists, and we're both over 60. Am I? Yes, I am. Vape actually has heavy metals in it, says the Snives. I think that is supported by the claims in the Johns Hopkins University. Let's go to more of their claims.
In the real cost advertisements that you see in America, they say that there's chrome and nickel and lead in it as well, going into your lungs, which is pretty nice.
They say the electronic cigarettes aren't the best smoking cessation tool. Although they've been promoted as an aid to help you quit smoking, e-cigarettes have not received FDA approval as smoking cessation devices. The FDA, of course, in the United States. Number 5, a new generation is getting hooked on nicotine, And it says among youth, e-cigarettes, especially the disposable kind, are more popular than any traditional tobacco product. Just tax them. Tax them. According to the 2021 National Youth Tobacco Survey, more than 2 million US middle and high school students reported using e-cigarettes in 2021, with more than 8 in 10 of those youth using flavoured cigarettes. There you go, those claims there from the Johns Hopkins University. So, we'll continue to see what you say about these things, because it is, after all, your program. Nick is cute. Even us boys like him, says Dream Mix. You've got some fans.
Thanks. And also, as a joke about the married thing, it's just a joke saying it's a 1v1. I'm not going to interfere or be a home wrecker to anyone, allegedly.
So that's not a place where you use the word allegedly.
Allegedly.
And for those people that claim that Nick looks like Elvis, you need to get your eyes checked. I sit next to him every day. I look at him on the TV. I don't see Elvis there at all.
Put it up and do a little thing, but it's going to go away. The hair is going to go away soon.
You have a...
We're going to get number one.
Off to the army next week.
Yeah.
To be lost in a jungle, fighting leeches, snakes. I'll have snakes here in the studio. You'll have snakes in the jungle. At least mine will be non-poisonous. How do you feel about that?
It's all right. It's okay.
Here's a great smoking ad. The next time you're dying for a cigarette, ask yourself, is it really worth dying for? Says Frank Weston, who's, I'm not sure what happened in other countries, but certainly in Australia we had a 20-year campaign.
There was a campaign with Brooke Shields during the Just Say No advertising campaign with Nancy Reagan. And Brooke Shields had this wonderful advertisement, and so did Mr. T, about not doing drugs. And I think it was, for its time, it was pretty good.
Okay.
Sorry, no, just
what were they talking about?
Well, I wasn't really paying attention because Brooke Shields was on the screen, so I was just watching it.
She's still hanging around? She's still doing stuff?
She's still hanging around, but
Mr. T's still around?
He's still around too. Mr. T looks better now. Well, actually, he still looks good now. Brooke Shields does not look as good.
Well, says an 18-year-old. The wrinkles will come for you. Eric Felix, question for both of you. Is there any specific reason you stay in Phuket? What is your favourite place to visit in Thailand? That's a good question. I'm not sure you'll have your answer, probably involving the fact that that's where your family home is. For me, I came to Phuket in 2012. I like beaches. And if you like beaches, there's probably no better single resort to stay in. There's 32 different beaches here in Phuket. So I don't go to the beach every day, but knowing they're there is something that I like to wake up to. You can go crazy and go onto the west coast and mix with all the tourists if you like, or you can come over to the east side where it's much quieter. You go north, there's beaches where you won't see a tourist all day. And beyond that, you can go over to like Pak Lok, and there's waterfalls and nature walks. It's sort of got it all. Having said that, as it gets busier, I'm sort of thinking, well, maybe I'll move just north into Phang Nga one day where it's just a little bit quieter and probably a bit more like Phuket was 20 years ago. So there's an international airport. I can fly any day of the week to destinations anywhere in the world. People say that it's expensive, and if you hang around the tourist areas, it is. But over here in the east side of the island, the costs aren't much different from anywhere else in Thai parts of Thailand. Over to you.
I'm sorry, what was the question? I can't find it.
Why do you live in Phuket?
Oh. Because I guess my house is here. We moved here after the Obama administration had caused a lot of working class families to struggle. And so for a little bit, we actually had to alternate between here and Phuket, the States and Phuket, to keep ourselves afloat. And I guess we ended up settling here because here your money stretches way further than it does in the States.
Yes.
And the quality of life is just as good as anywhere else. The healthcare is a fraction of the price that it would cost in the States. You can buy mostly any motorbike you want. You can have everything you want just a little bit more expensive than you would pay in a Western country. So
that's important to you.
It's not a bad trade. Yeah, I'm American and I like materialistic objects.
Why don't you support the Thai motorbike industry and buy a Thai-built superbike?
Because my friends and I have nicknamed them death machines, and not to buy them, particularly GPX. I'm sorry if I'm flaming GPX. Yeah,
be careful here.
I know. But with our group of friends who ride motorbikes to school all the time, we do not advocate or support that brand.
Nong Wursao, I was really testing us this morning. What is the percentage of STDs in Thailand? I've got no idea. Yes, there has been a rise of STDs, and I think it was mostly chlamydia in the past 10 years.
You can get rid of chlamydia, though.
Yes, you can. Yeah. Yes, you can with antibiotics. But yes, I think there was a rise in that particular STD. HIV, there has been a rise in younger age groups in Thailand. I don't have these numbers with me, but the last time I looked, that was the situation. So I don't know the percentage, but I think young Thai people is the biggest problem for STDs at the moment, which mostly comes down to education.
Ah, lovely. Insult Investor asks, Yamaha, yes or no? Yes, I used to ride a Yamaha.
We don't...
Sorry, motorbikes are really relevant to Thailand, and it's a main form of transport. So therefore, we're still keeping it relevant.
What's your favorite scooter?
My favorite scooter?
Like, 125cc step through. Apart from the Zuma, the Honda Zuma.
I would say the Honda Wave then, because the Honda Wave is a great base model for adding on modifications that make it faster than average.
A Honda Wave is like the staple of motorbikes in Thailand. They've been around for 30 years.
And people drive ones that are over 50 years old.
Sure.
They don't die.
And in some cases, I would bet that they haven't changed the oil in 50 years. And
it keeps running.
They keep on going. What was the one that Jeremy Clarkson and the
Grand Tour?
Top Gun.
Gear.
Top Gear. Sorry, Top Gear, not Top Gun. I shouldn't say the word GUN because we got demonetized yesterday for mentioning GUNs. So they pushed, I think it was a Honda Wave or something, off a 3-story building, and they put it in the water and they blew it up, and it just kept on going.
Really?
It could have been a Honda Wave because that's how reliable the Honda Waves are. Flying to Thailand in 12 hours, says Chinky Bad Boy. What?
Yeah, I know.
Any news on entry requirements? You shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. Just bring your passport. Make sure it's got 6 months time left on it. That's the basic requirement for a passport. And otherwise, depending on where you're coming from, Chinky Bad Boy.
I think he's going from the UK.
If you're coming from the UK, you'll get 45 days automatic entry, and you can extend that for another 30 days for 1,900 baht. I have an international driver's license, says Eric Felix, but it's only stamped on the car license section. Would I get in trouble if stopped on a motorbike or a scooter? I have an international driver's license, but I don't know. I think if your international driver's license says that you can drive a motorbike, that's fine. I got around with an international driver's license for 10 years. I think it was only valid for 2, but I kept on using it and never had any problems being passed through checkpoints. So if it does say motorbike, then you won't have any problems. Tim, did you know the Bathurst 12 Hour is on in Australia today? I used to love watching Bathurst. It's sort of a long distance
car race.
I think like they go about 500 kilometers.
Kind of like the what's the 24-hour one? Le Mans.
Except it's not around a circuit like that. It's around a sort of it would be about like a 10-kilometer circuit.
Okay.
And it sort of goes up and down hills, and it's got straights, and it's got like the whole thing. And it used to be between Holden and Ford, GMH and Ford. It used to be a big tussle between their main cars, which were all souped up, and now it involves a whole lot of other cars. I haven't watched Bathurst for 30 years, but I used to enjoy sitting down and watching it, and it was very entertaining, particularly the crashes.
Nice.
Of course. Thank you for telling me, Nong Wu. So I'll probably try and look out for that because I haven't seen Bathurst for years. Bathurst is west of Sydney in Australia, and would get thousands of people
West of Sydney, but Sydney is a coastal city.
It's east. No, it's west of Sydney. West towards
inland. Okay.
inland. Yes.
I still have no idea where that would.
Anywhere east of Sydney, you'd get your feet wet. Replace Nick with a plank of wood. That's not very nice.
Thank you.
Sorry, I should have pre-read that. Even on a scooter. General advice to everyone who is starting serious relationships: both do an STD, I think he means, and when you like a butterfly, always wear a raincoat. Okay, I don't quite understand all that.
Strange. Strange.
Butterflies, raincoats, STDs. 5 Buddhist precepts. Frank's giving us a little bit of philosophical advice. 1, don't kill. 2, don't steal. 3, don't commit adultery. I'm just wondering what's coming up. 4, don't lie. Number 5, no adultery. Pass this info to the police, please, guys. I'm not Buddhist. Most of the police in Thailand would be, so I'll let them sort that out. Okay, so do we have much more to... We've sort of been going for nearly an hour, and I've done my main topics. People are starting to ramble.
Yeah, it's trying to ramble on.
So I think it's a good time to say goodbye. Do we just want to once again say, if you would like to be involved in donating some money, making a bid for these toy elephants, you can go... I'll put a link in the description of this video. And these are made from my old flowery shirts that I used to wear at a different business in a different time. And so you can bid online. You're doing a full rotation. You are sort of the sale of the century showgirl.
Just showing
all the different angles.
What comes with the elephant.
So there's different sizes. That's a large, that's a medium, and that's a small elephant. And there's also where's the keychain?
Oh, he's underneath the laptop.
Oh, he's underneath the laptop.
It's getting crushed.
Just letting the laptop get some air underneath it. And there's also a mega size one, an XL size. And we've also got the ones with the key rings, and we've got the glasses case. 37 items. There's only 37 items. Once they're all bid for, then they're gone. And they'll be worth millions in the future. Millions of rupiah, perhaps, not dollars, but they'll be worth something. And thank you very much. Seeds of Change done a beautiful job. They've even got a label on the bottom.
I didn't know.
Seeds of Change, handmade in Phuket. There you go.
Little brand of authenticity
and flapping ears and all. They're really, really nicely made. So thanks everybody for joining in, and thank you for your questions, your comments. Hopefully we've provided a little bit of additional information today.
We do have a question before we wrap this up. Tim asks, on Thai healthcare, are doctors based mainly at hospital locations, or are there many general doctors running their own community practices for local health?
Well, it's a bit of both, but most of the time you go to a hospital. But there are some clinics as well. But I wouldn't say I probably can name a handful of clinics. What was one of them? He had a very strange name. He's in Geelong, near the Geelong Circle. He's got a funny name.
On the Rawai side,
Dr.
right?
Titty or something? He's got a rather funny sort of
Dr. Atit.
name.
Atit, maybe? Like A-T-I-T?
Yes.
It's something like that.
It's something like
I've
that.
seen that, yes, I've seen it.
But that's a general clinic, and there's another one just up Chow Phar Road. There's one opposite what's the main hospital in Samkong? What's the big Washira Hospital, if you like.
Washira.
There's one opposite there as well. But most of the time, you just go to the hospital, and you just go in the queue. The doctors that tend to work in the public hospitals also work in the private hospitals. There's just a pool of doctors, and they tend to work. So the public healthcare here is very good, because the doctors that work in the big private expensive hospitals are the same doctors that work in the public hospital system. So that's about all I can say there. Tim, your show is evidence that ChatGPT could never replace you. Well, yes, ChatGPT is a tool. It's not a solution. I think There are interesting days ahead. I introduced ChatGPT to a person last night. They were just shocked and stunned by the information that it was able to elicit.
Discovering fire?
A bit like that. They went, oh my God. So it is something that we're going to have to learn how to cope with. It's only going to get more powerful and more accurate as time goes. So ChatGPT is something that we need all to be aware of. You're consumed by building towers out of toy elephants.
It's just I guess a human instinct.
Little elephants humping bigger elephants.
It's not. It's
you need to have a good look at yourself,
on
Nick.
The other elephant. You're the one making it weird.
Thanks, Nick. Have a great day, guys. Thank you, Tim Shaw. Thank you very much. Snipes, party on, everyone. It's buffering bad in Nebraska. Sorry about that. It's probably more Nebraska's problem than ours, but who knows?
Yeah, the cornfields might be blocking the 5G.
And with that, we thank you very much for watching. Have a great time in the Army next week.
Thank you.
You're back the week after?
Yes, I'm back the week after. That's if I make it out.
Yes, if the snakes and the leeches don't get you.
Snakes don't consume me in the middle of the night.
Are you going to be playing with things?
I'll be playing with toys of a certain caliber. And I probably won't be sleeping very much the next couple of nights as well.
And you sort of wrestle tigers in the jungle.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And fight crocodiles and whatnot.
And you'll have a very short haircut when you come back.
And I will have a very short haircut. Actually, then you'll be able to see the scar in the back of my head.
How'd that happen? Motorbike accident.
I won't worry about it.
All right. What did the Obama administration do to working class families? I was going to ask you about that as well, but we're not going to get into American politics. I'm back tomorrow, as I am every day, with the daily program, going through the main stories in Thailand. And TNT is here every day of the week. I literally don't have a life. So thanks, everybody, and particularly thank you to those people who were kind and generous. We're always appreciative of those very generous offerings, and hopefully we spend it well on equipment that doesn't get too hot.
I guess we'll answer those questions next program, but I won't be here next program. So maybe you can answer it on your own program.
And to finish this, People Powered Press says, kick ass, Nick.
Thank you.
So we'll hear all about it as Nick goes and does his compulsory army.
I would try and film some of it, but they don't allow phones and cameras and whatnot because it's like a security breach or whatever.
So do they confiscate your phones?
I would, yes. And also, there's no electricity in the jungle, so I'd only get the first 24 hours of battery life. And then
there would be some students or the soldiers, the trainee soldiers, who would find that very difficult to be off their phone, and probably a good experience.
Yeah, it's fun, but it's still work, if you will.
See you, everybody. Have a great weekend, or the rest of the weekend. Back tomorrow with another TNT, and I'll put a link in the description of the video when we tune off. And if you'd like to support Seeds of Change, then you are absolutely invited to do so. See you later.